Scott and Drew.
Welcome, everyone, to the Friday edition of Talkin' Ball. I am Drew DeArmond. Scott Tyson's on assignment today. Going to be doing like the old days. Going to be flying solo as we're going to be talking some ball with you for the next couple of hours here on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. Then we'll switch over to the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio from 9 to 10 a.m., our sister station, and have some more great conversation. A lot of it centered on high school basketball because if you're a hoopaholic like myself, it is the best time of the year. There is no question about that. And it was interesting yesterday due to the threat of inclement weather. We kind of broke that on Talking Ball a little bit. We were warning you that could happen, and then it was official near the end of the Recruiting Blitz from 9 to 10 a.m. We announced that to you guys via Ben Thomas of AL.com, and he is closely affiliated with the Alabama High School Athletic Associations, he and the AHSAA, and he put out the statement about the 3 of the 4 sites having brief action yesterday, basically because of the threat of severe weather. They had to reschedule 3 of the 4 regionals yesterday. Only Jacksonville State, which had 4 games on Wednesday and then 4 games yesterday, played out their schedule. Of course, the Jacksonville State, the men's program under Ray Harper, they had a game last night, so that's one reason why they didn't have a full slate of games yesterday at JSU. But they did play out their schedule yesterday, which was 4 games. They only played 2 games each in the South, Northwest, and Central regionals. Of course, the Northwest regional being at Wallace State, closest to our geographic area. And then the Bob Jones ladies, who got a big win over Vestavia, and then the Bob Jones boys, whose season was ended by the same Vestavia Rebels, played yesterday. But big-time congrats to Coach Powers. For the Bob Jones ladies, they've been really good all year. They are going to advance to the regional finals. Their opponent is yet to be determined because they've had to revise the schedule over there, and we'll go over that in just a minute. But and then kudos to Luther Tig's squad. I believe they won 22 games. They did not advance to the Elite Eight, but certainly another Sweet 16 bid for his program. Came up against Wynn Miller, the Belmont commit and / signee, who is the all-time leading scorer for the Vestavia Hills Rebels. He bested former Mr. Basketball and University of Alabama player Wade Kaiser earlier this year. Vestavia winning 56-29 over those Bob Jones Patriots, and they will advance to the Elite Eight with a chance to get back to Birmingham. And right now, in the last poll, the Vestavia Rebels were number 1 in 7A, so they're certainly playing at an extremely high level, and their opponent is to be determined as well. So we will see, but again, here is the revised schedule, and for the duration of the regional tournaments, hopefully no more weather is going to wreak havoc with that, but the schedule right now at the Northeast Regional going forward, starting this morning at 9 a.m. Over at Jacksonville State, will be 5A action. The Springville girls squad is going to take on Arab from our community. The Springville Tigers against the Arab Lady Knights. That will be at 9 a.m. Then the Springville boys squad, those Tigers, will take on Jason Bell's Scottsboro Wildcats at 10:30 a.m. Then Southside Gadsden will take on the Gunnersville girls, the defending 5A state champion Lady Wildcats, at noon. And then the Moody Blue Devils, the boys program, will take on Brett Self's Gunnersville Wildcats boys program at 1:30, and that will be the first pod today, the 5A action that will start at 9 a.m. with that Springville and Arab girls game. That will be at Jacksonville State University, followed by the 2A, and that will be the final action today over at Jacksonville State. That will be 4 games. Pleasant Valley is going to take on Eider at 3 o'clock. And then Lynette, of course, the Panthers, they're a powerhouse program. Lynette is going to take on Sandrock in boys action at 4:30. And then the Lynette ladies will take on Pisgah at 6 p.m. And then Lafayette, I knew I'd do that. Lafayette, because they are very particular about that. I learned that at the state tournament. Lafayette is going to take on the Pisgah boys, and Coach Kerry Ellison, who is coaching both the Hall of Famer with 700 wins and 8 state championships with the Pisgah girls, is also coaching the Pisgah boys. So he will have back-to-back contests tonight at 6, and then again Lafayette taking on Pisgah's boys in the Sweet 16 at 7:30. That will be all the action for today at Jacksonville State. Then going forward, on Saturday in 4A action at Jacksonville State, you'll have Hanley taking on the Aniana girls in action starting at 9 a.m. The Jacksonville Golden Eagles, the defending 4A boys champions, will take on Hanceville at 10:30 a.m. And then in girls action, and this will involve a prominent team from our community. Coach Craig McGill does a great job with those ladies at New Hope. The New Hope ladies at noon will take on Talladega, and then in boys action, White Plains versus Etowah at 1:30, and that will be all the action for Saturday. And as you know, regional play, no action on Sundays. It will resume at Jacksonville State on Monday, and that will be Class 3A. Glencoe will take on the Susan Moore girls at 9 a.m. And then the boys program at Glencoe will take on the defending 3A state champion Plainview Bears, and coached by our good friend Robbie Coker. Plainview will now play at 10:30 a.m. on Monday against Glencoe. And then in girls action, Ohatchee will take on the Plainview Lady Bears at noon. And then Alex Odom, he of the 59 points the other night, he put on quite a show in their sub-regional matchup. Piedmont will take on Geraldine, and Geraldine just recently came up here to Huntsville to take on the Crimson Panthers, and Geraldine will take on Piedmont at 1:30 on a Monday. And then the rest of the action on Monday will be Class 1A, and that'll be Winterboro versus Spring Garden girls. Spring Garden, a powerhouse program, state championship program, at 3 o'clock on Monday. And then the Winterboro boys will take on Skyline. Skyline, always a powerhouse in boys basketball, winning another area championship and sub-regional. They will take on Winterboro and Skyline's boys at 4:30. Jefferson Christian versus the Skyline girls at 6 p.m. And then Faith Christian versus our good friends, Oakwood Academy. The boys program has been highly ranked all year in 1A, and of course they will be playing at 7:30 p.m. against Faith Christian, and that will now be on Monday. And then Tuesday is when your regional finals start, and of course that will have some local ties as well. The girls will be taking the floor, and that will be, as we know, the Huntsville Lady Panthers fell to a really good Hewitt-Trussville team, but the Sparkman Lady Senators will take the floor at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, trying to get back to Birmingham against Hewitt-Trussville. And then in the boys game at 10:45, and you'll hear that game here on ESPN 97.7 The Zone, the Huntsville Crimson Panthers, trying to make some history for the third straight year in the Elite Eight, will take on Chris Latch and the outstanding program from Spain Park, and that will be at 10:45 a.m. on Tuesday. And then the 6A action, girls and boys, and of course this is all to be determined, but that will be, the girls will take the floor at 12:30, the boys at 2:15, and then 2A on Tuesday will be the girls at 4 o'clock and the boys at 5:45. And then Wednesday action will be the regional finals for 5A at 9 and 10:45, 4A at 12:30 and 2:15, 1A at 4 o'clock and then 5:45. And then Thursday, the regional finals will be the 3A, and that will be the end of action over at Jacksonville State. That will be the girls at 9 a.m. and then the boys at 10:45 a.m. And now another schedule that we wanted to go over for locally is the Northwest Regional, and that is at Wallace State, and it's going to be loaded today. And right after the recruiting blitz, we are going to head over there and check out all that action, and we will be there live today because there's a lot of local ties. At 9 a.m., right at the end of our show, the Hazel Green ladies trying to make history, trying to win 6 straight state championships. Them and Pisgah are both trying to break the Lauderdale County record of 5 in a row. And, of course, as you know, Pisgah will be out at Jacksonville State competing. But the Hazel Green ladies under Coach Tim Miller, who's now won 700-plus games himself, Mortimer Jordan who has a very good team, is going to take on Hazel Green today at 9 a.m. So that will be high-level girls action in 6A. And then the Pinson Valley Indians, Daryl Barber, ranked in the top 30 in America. They are undefeated. They will take on Neil Barker's and Muscle Shoals Trojans at 10:30 a.m. today at Wallace State. Then after that, there will be the Clay Chalkville ladies against Muscle Shoals at noon. And the final 6A game today will be two local squads, really. The defending 6A state champions, the Coleman Bearcats, coached by our good friend Stu Studeman, and they will take on the Buckhorn Bucks. And you will hear that game on ESPN 97.7 The Zone as the bandyman Bailey Lowery, my producer today, and Captain Cool John Abraham. They will not have an afternoon blitz show. They will be out there live at Wallace State Hanceville, bringing you the journey of the Buckhorn Bucks and their Sweet 16 matchup, as Patrick Harding and those guys who have had an outstanding year, have won an area championship, won their sub-regional handily over Columbia, and now they will be taking on Coleman, trying to get to the Elite Eight. And you could potentially see, a Buckhorn Pinson Valley matchup or Coleman Pinson Valley, because I think Pinson Valley Muscle Shoals is certainly going to have something to say about it. Neil Barker, and don't forget, Neil Barker's pulled it off an upset before. I mean, years ago, he came to Wallace State when he first got to Muscle Shoals and had some dude named Mark Sears, and they upset the Lee Generals, who were heavily favored. So we'll see if they can do it again against Pinson Valley. But Coleman and Buckhorn will play at 1:30, and then you will have 7A action at Wallace State today. Hoover and James Clemens girls, so it's going to be another local tie there with James Clemens, and they're going to try to continue their great run. They got to the Sweet 16 this year, no doubt about it, and that's an outstanding accomplishment for those ladies. They are going to take on the defending 7A champion Hoover Lady Bucks, and as we know, Crystal Johnson, former coach at Huntsville High, she went on a couple of Final Four runs there, but she's won state titles at Hoover, and they are the only team in the last couple of years to beat the Hazel Green ladies. They did that earlier this year, breaking that 87-game winning streak as they soundly defeated Hazel Green, but they have a great program, and Hoover will take on James Clemens ladies, and so we're good luck to the James Clemens Lady Jets. That's a great accomplishment going ahead and getting to the Sweet 16 there. Great accomplishment there. And then Austin, they have been red hot, and we're going to actually talk to Desmond Phillips in just a few minutes at the top of the second hour. He's going to be good enough to join us before their game with the Hoover boys program today. Hoover has had an outstanding year, been ranked in the top 5 all year in 7A. They got upset in the area tournament by Vestavia, but they are going to be playing at 4:30 p.m. today. And the winner of the Hoover James Clemens game will, of course, play in the Elite Eight. That has been decided. They would play Bob Jones, so that would be another local tie. And then potentially, if Austin, who has not lost since losing 58-45 to the Huntsville Crimson Panthers in the second round of the Huntsville City Classic, if they can upset Hoover, then you would have Austin and Vestavia in the finals. But again, that's going to be a great matchup. Austin, which has been playing outstanding basketball since after Christmas and won the area championship in regular season and the tournament, went undefeated in area play overall. Austin is going to take on the Hoover boys at 4:30 today. And then the last action of Friday is going to be 1A, Marion County and Shoals Christians girls at 6, and then Marion County and Shoals Christians boys are going to take the floor at 7:30 tonight. And then on Saturday, the 3A action over at Wallace State is going to be Midfield and Clements girls, starting it off at 9 a.m., and then Midfield and Elkmont's boys at 10:30. And then Carbon Hill will take on Lauderdale County's girls. Again, the powerhouse known as Lauderdale County, record 13 state championships for Brent Llewellyn in that program. Childersburg is going to take on the Lauderdale County boys, as Lauderdale County's boys have made the run down there. That'll be a 1:30 game on Saturday. And then Class 2A, the Celigent Lady Blue Devils will be against Decatur Heritage's girls at 3, and the Red Bay Lady Tigers, the Red Bay, boys program, Red Bay boys program will take on the power known as Tanner. Tanner, of course, as you know, Chris Whitwing, 3 state titles there during his run, long-time run at the school. They will take the floor at 4:30 in 2A action, and then in Class 1A action, It's going to be Addison and Covenant Christian's girls at 6, and then Meek versus Covenant Christian's boys. Covenant Christian, actually the defending 1A state champion, and they will take the floor at 7:30 for the last game of Saturday. And then on Monday, it's going to be Class 2A action. Mars Hill Bible versus Holly Pond's girls. Mars Hill Bible's boys will then take on our good friends at Whitesburg Christian Academy. And we had Coach Rob Murphy on this week. That's school history for them, winning the area for the first time over Tanner, and then hosting a sub-regional, winning it very impressively over Decatur Heritage. So they're going to take on Mars Hill. And then the Priceville ladies are going to take on St. John Paul's ladies program. We had Kyle Overstreet on this week. That's school history for them. And then the Haleyville Lions, we're going to talk to actually Dylan Burleson on the Blitz today. They are going to host Westminster and Ronnie Stapler's #1 Westminster Christian Academy team at 1:30 after that Priceville St. John Paul game at noon. That's 4A on Saturday action. And then the Good Hope Raiders, they are #1 in, I believe, in 4A, and they're going to take on Deschler's at Jana Killen's Powerhouse at 3 o'clock. And then the West Morgan Rebels and the Deschler Tigers, that should be a heck of a matchup at 4:30 to end 4A action on Saturday, and then on Monday. And then Class 5A, Pleasant Grove versus East Limestone's girls on Monday. Fairfield versus Russellville, and of course Pleasant Grove East Limestone's girls will be at 6. Fairfield and Russellville's boys will be at 7:30, and that will round out the Monday action at Wallace State. But that 4A pod right there, especially from a girls' perspective, with Priceville and St. John Paul at noon, and then Good Hope and Deschler at 3. That's two really outstanding matchups on Monday. And then Haleyville and Westminster, another very interesting, sneaky matchup at 1:30 on Monday, and then West Morgan and Deschler. So that 4A action is worth the price of admission just by itself. And then 5A, to wrap up Monday at Wallace, is Pleasant Grove versus the East Limestone ladies. And then boys action, Fairfield and Maurice Ford will take on Russellville at 7:30. And then Tuesday is when Madison Academy's ladies and boys will take the floor because of the weather situation. But on Tuesday in 5A, Jasper and our good friend Heath Burns, they're going to take, the Jasper ladies, who I've heard I haven't seen them, but I've heard they may be the best team in all of 5A. The Jasper Lady Vikings will take on Madison Academy's ladies, who have had a really good year. And then our good friend Denton Johnson, #1 Ramsey, will take on Tom Berryman and Madison Academy. We're going to talk to Coach Berryman today. That will be a 10:30 matchup on Tuesday at Wallace State. And then the regional finals will all start after that on Tuesday. 7A girls at noon, boys at 1:45, and then Class 1A girls 3:30, boys at 5:15. And then on Wednesday you'll have regional finals at 9 and 10:45 for the 6A boys and girls, 2A 12:30 and 2:15 on that Wednesday, and then Class 3A girls and boys at 4, and then 5:45. And then Thursday, regional finals now, Class 4A at 9 a.m., boys at 10:45 a.m., and then Class 5A, 12:30 p.m. and 2:15 p.m. So that's going to be those two regionals. We wanted to go over those because there's a lot of local teams in the Northeast and Northwest regionals. But right now we're going to go on a break. When we come back on Talkin' Ball on this Friday morning, we can take your calls, 256-576-4977, and we'll continue to talk some high school basketball, SEC as well, because it's going to be a big weekend of SEC basketball action. But stay with us here on this Friday edition of Talkin' Ball on ESPN 97.7 The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sounds like we may have a problem with the traffic signal at Monroe and Washington. We got a tree down in Morgan County, Rescue Road near Cherokee Ridge, and 53 is still closed between Kelly Springs and Jeff Road. That's where we had that helicopter crash earlier this week. Snelling needs a paralegal with experience in family law. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental also specializes in day and weekend rentals to homeowners? The weekend rentals is by far the best deal that they offer. If you pick up after 2 on a Friday or anytime Saturday morning, it's not due in until Monday morning before 8 a.m. for a one-day charge. For a small fee, Valley can even haul anything they carry. Valley has extremely experienced and knowledgeable staff that can help you decide what size machine you need or what type of machine you need to get your job done like a pro. They have all the big items that the contractors need for their jobs, but they also carry the small tools that can help you with your DIY project. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and ask for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Champy's Famous Fried Chicken started in Chattanooga, but the history of the fried chicken, hand-rolled Mississippi Delta tamales, and comfort food sides started decades before. Champy's Famous Fried Chicken is made from an old family recipe from down in the Delta, and everything is fresh and homemade, including all of the sides and desserts. Come visit Champy's Famous Fried Chicken. You'll find it's the best fried chicken and hand-rolled tamales you've ever had. On Madison Boulevard in the old Bison's location in the Publix Plaza with 22 taps in the full-service bar and 2 outdoor patios. See ya at Champy's.
Who knows comfort? Well, comfort is our middle name. If your home isn't as comfortable as you want it to be, we can fix that. We service all makes and brands of heating and cooling systems, even if we didn't install them. So give us a call at Environmental Comfort Systems or visit our website at envcomfort.com. We are your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Alabama license number 92314. Environmental Comfort Systems. That's envcomfort.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Flow Trampoline Park is your one-stop fun spot for your next birthday party. Whether you're a boy, girl, kid, or adult, Flow has you covered. Party packages allow up to 25 plus guests, so you'll be able to bring all of your friends. And with all the fun competition to be had at Flow, maybe enemies too. Party packages will give you access to 60 minutes of jump time, grip socks for all guests, a private party room, and a party coordinator. Flow is behind South Parkway and Drake, behind Cracker Barrel. For more information, go to flowhuntsville.com. Get jumping with Flow.
Welcome back to Talkin' Ball, ESPN 97.7 The Zone. I'm D-Squared, Drew DeArmond, and we are here bringing you the Friday edition. We just kind of went over the revised schedule for, and really, as we said, the Northeast at Jacksonville State is going on as planned. They were the only regional yesterday. They only had 4 games scheduled on the first 2 days, and that was on Wednesday and Thursday. Due to Jacksonville State being at home, Coach Ray Harper's squad had a home game last night, and they will have another home game on Saturday before hitting the road. So there was going to be limited schedules at Jacksonville State due to that, for that reasoning, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And as you know, they're going to have a full slate today, but they did not have any games postponed. But we wanted to bring you the revised schedule for Wallace State, Hanceville, because there is a lot of area teams going over there that we cover And as we said, there's going to be some outstanding action. Really what it turned into today was absolutely a full slate. It's going to be a big day today over at Wallace State due to some of the revised schedules. And it's, they had to push some games back, push some games till next week as far as especially in the 5A classification and in 4A. And the 4A action is going to be outstanding. But they did not move the 6A. 6A still going on as planned, and that's why the Bandyman and Captain Cool will be there at 1:30 today for the Buckhorn Bucks in Coleman. That may be the biggest game of the day. There's a lot of them, though. Now that Hoover also and Austin are playing, that's another game of high interest to so many around in this area. And then, as we said, Madison Academy getting pushed until next week, and that's why we're going to have Tom Berryman on. They will not take the floor, as we said, until next week due to that revised schedule. And so they've got a little bit more time to prepare for the outstanding program from Ramsey and, of course, the great program Denton Johnson has. Ramsey has been a perennial Final Four contender, nearly won state championships on multiple occasions, might be considered the favorite right now, but Tom Berryman's squad is going to have a lot to say about that. His first year replacing Andy Blackston, and his team down the stretch really has caught fire and done a great job winning the area tournament, winning their sub-regional at home very impressively, and now going out to Wallace State and having a chance in the Sweet 16 to reach Birmingham, which Madison Academy did at so many occasions. I believe 11 times under Andy Blackston, won 5 state championships. So this is a program that is used to winning. Coach Berryman, of course, spent a long time on the college level, was on Tony Pujols' staff at UNA before making the move to Madison Academy, and now he and his new staff over there doing a great job in year one, and they are making a postseason run. So we're going to, we had last spoke with him before the Huntsville City Classic, and they had a very difficult draw because they drew the Huntsville Crimson Panthers in the first round, and the field was very deep this year with the Huntsville City Classic. It's deep as any we've ever seen, and we know that the show LeBaron Philon put on. He put on another one yesterday. His team actually through 3 quarters was down 1 to the Enterprise, program led by Rhett Harrelson. And a couple years ago, the Enterprise ended up coming over to the Huntsville City Classic, and Enterprise actually lost a 1-point game to James Clemens, and James Clemens and Enterprise met yet again last year for the 7A state championship. Enterprise getting their first ever state title under Rhett Harrelson as they win by 2. I believe it was 66-64. So they ended up winning the state championship and pulling that out over in a very, very close game against James Clemens. And so you have to give, Enterprise a lot of credit for coming up here a couple years ago and then winning the state championship last year, but they will not repeat because LeBaron Philon had 32 points yesterday and a huge fourth quarter, and they end up winning going away. I believe it was 53-41, so a huge win for David Armstrong and the that program over there at Baker, the Baker Hornets. They get the win over Enterprise, and Enterprise is as well coached a team as you're ever going to see. So having that kind of fourth quarter over there in Montgomery and winning for Baker was huge, and that was one of the big headlines yesterday as LeBaron Philon and Baker rallied after having a deficit through the third quarter against a very good Enterprise team, but getting the win and moving on to the Elite Eight. And so LeBaron Philon and those guys 1 win away from getting back to Birmingham. And, of course, he committed to Auburn recently. I think he's the best overall player in the state of Alabama, as quick end-to-end as anyone, going to be an outstanding player for Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers. And so, but we'll be following him closely because he put on an all-time show as Baker reached the finals before losing to Jamie Coggins' gritty, Sparkman Senator groups. The Senators, of course, their season ended earlier this week in heartbreaking fashion. They played an outstanding game, losing in overtime, 54-52 to Chris Latch and his outstanding Spain Park Jaguars. And as we said, the Huntsville Crimson Panthers, following their 68-32 dismantling of Oak Mountain. They will take on Spain Park. That should be an outstanding matchup. It will be the third straight year in 7A action in the Elite Eight that they will take on one another. Spain Park winning the previous two matchups and to reach the Final Four. So Chris Latch has an outstanding program, great culture there. We hope to catch up with Coach before that game against Huntsville as he does such a great job with his program. But certainly that's going to be a huge challenge for Huntsville, who's trying to get to the Final Four for the first time in the modern era. And Huntsville, of course, last won the state championship, their only state championship in school history in 1930. Last reached the Elite Eight, which was at that time was the state tournament. It was considered the top 8 teams got to state before they switched to the Final Four format. But the last time Huntsville reached the state tournament in Tuscaloosa, at that point in time, part of it was played in Tuscaloosa, part of it in Auburn. But Huntsville reached Tuscaloosa in the Elite Eight under Coach Rich Valavicius in 1988. But that's the last time that Huntsville has been at the state tournament, never at the Final Four, and they've got a chance to make some history. And you'll hear that game on 97.7 The Zone on Tuesday at 10:45 a.m. And again, as we said later today, Sweet 16 action on 97.7 The Zone. The Buckhorn Bucks, led by Coach Patrick Harding and Caleb Holt, the freshman, and an outstanding squad. They have a really good basketball team, and they're going to take on Stu Studeman and Coleman. That will be fascinating. Coleman, of course, playing much like Bucky McMillan's squads and really Huntsville. They are patterned after that Mountain Brook program, which is now led by Ty Davis. And speaking of Mountain Brook, they got a big win yesterday. And, of course, we know Mountain Brook was also in the Huntsville City Classic. They win 71-30 over Parker. So they have advanced to play Huffman, who wins 57-50 over Joel Van Meter's Oxford Yellow Jackets team that got really hot the second half of the season after the Classic. Joel Van Meter does a great job. That's another Huntsville City Classic participant. So as you can see, a lot of these squads were alive in postseason, but 57-50. That game was decided, and Huffman beats Joel Van Meter's Oxford squad to advance to that Elite Eight matchup with Mountain Brook. That should be a heck of a game next week as well. But we're going to go on a break, our second break here, the first hour. You can give us a call when we come back from break, 256-576-4977, and we'll continue to preview high school basketball. And we're going to talk some SEC when we return, as there's a big slate on Saturday of SEC basketball action led by the Alabama Crimson Tide. Number one right now, probably not in the poll, the new poll come Monday, but they're still ranked number one, and they're going to retake the floor against the Georgia Bulldogs on Saturday in Coleman Coliseum.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had a couple of problems reported. They were looking at the traffic signal at Monroe and Washington. Part of it was not functioning correctly. And we had a tree down on Rescue Road near Cherokee Ridge in Morgan County. They may still be working with that one this morning. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Randall Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Wash your hands, avoid sick people, and touching your face. There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station. There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station. Wash your hands, avoid sick people, and touching your face. There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is an Alabama legacy moment. The famous goal line stand, one of the most celebrated moments in Alabama sports history. The Tide was leading the 1979 Sugar Bowl when Penn State moved the ball to within 10 inches of the goal line. Barry Krause and Marty Lyons leaped over the pile to stop Nittany Lions running back Mike Gooman and preserve the Tide's victory. The win handed Coach Paul Bear Bryant his 5th national championship.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
This is an Alabama legacy moment.
Olympian Jesse Owens dominated the 1936 Olympics with 4 track and field gold medals in the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, the long jump, and the 4x100-meter relay. The Lawrence County native dominated track and field from a young age, while in college at the Big Ten Championships, Owens set 3 world records and tied a 4th in less than 1 hour. Owens is widely remembered as the nation's greatest Olympian.
Sponsored by the Alabama Bicentennial Commission, the ABA, and this station.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Hour 1 of this Friday edition of Talkin' Ball on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. Big topic to start the show has been high school basketball because that's going to be what's going on, the regional tournaments going on around the state of Alabama, but especially locally if you're talking about the Northwest Regional at Wallace State, the Northeast Regional at Jacksonville State. That's where our area teams are going to be, and that's who we're going to be monitoring for the next week or so as we see teams trying to make that journey to the Final Four, to Birmingham, and to represent our community so well. And they do it each and every year because we're blessed to kind of be the hub of high school basketball in the state here in North Alabama. And so we're going to be tracking several squads, no question about it, especially a lot of those Huntsville City Classic participants. But we're also going to go to the phone lines, and I know Richard is waiting to join us, and it's always great to catch up with him. What's up, Richard?
Hey, not much, Drew. I got a kind of a college question for you. Your Duke Blue Devils last Saturday. In football, you have SEC officials, and they got the review in I guess in Birmingham. But I was just wondering if you could because that was such a big screw up. But I was just wondering if there's any way to kind of alleviate that, or you don't want to drag it out 5 hours of the review to to go to the office. But I saw one of those officials had a problem with the Xavier game the night before.
Well, I'll just say this. It shocked me. I saw the play happen. I was stunned and I knew they would take the time to review it and take a few minutes, but you could plainly see when Flipikowski went to the rim that he got fouled, and the light hadn't even turned on. I was stunned. I was like, okay, this is really easy, and that's why you have replay. Is the light on or not? It's not on.
Yeah, I was watching it live, and I was on my phone, goofing off, and I'm not talking local, but I'm talking national writers were all going, Duke's about to win the game, and these are national. Right. Washington people. Are saying Duke's getting ready to go to the line, so everybody watching TV, national writers thought Duke was about to at least have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, you're right. It would have been 2 shots. If Flip makes one of them, then Duke's going to win the game. And I was stunned when they came back and said, okay, we're going to overtime. And I was like, are you kidding me? These officials should be suspended. That's just, unless there was a problem with the mechanism where they couldn't see the proper replay or whatever. I don't think so. There wasn't.
Well, the only thing is they had called it a foul, so to me it's kind of like if you can't overturn it, at least in football, it stays. If you don't get a good enough view, the call stays on the and on the court with the foul. So.
And there's already conspiracy theories because Coach K showed up at the next home game, and I've already heard people talking about, well, he's sending a message to the officials that you got to get it right.
Maybe wanted to go date to watch Duke play on Valentine's Day. Come on, Drew, where the Krzyzewskis wanted to be on Valentine's Day at a Duke game.
Well, see, what's so funny is I had also heard Coach K had announced earlier that he would not be coming to any games this year, and they were, he was going to give away, they were going to do a contest, and those some fans could maybe go watch the game with him at home. He wasn't going to be coming to the games, and then it was amazing that he showed up at the next home game. But in a way, I don't blame him. I mean, it was egregious. I mean, you can't screw things up that badly. Imagine if that had been an NCAA tournament game and the loser went home because of just idiocy like that.
But the Tuesday night game was Mike Bray was there too. And I guess he's not.
That's
really
true. Yeah,
retiring.
former assistant. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you would say he's not. I guess retiring's not the right word, but just looking for a new job. I guess at the end of the year, I guess is what he stated this week. That he's leaving Notre Dame, but not retiring.
Yeah.
So.
It looks like he's still going to leave Notre Dame, but he's not through coaching. At least that's what he said. So obviously he still wants to coach somewhere. He's had a longer run at Notre Dame, I think, than Digger Phelps. I mean, he's the winningest coach. I think he's done everything but go to the Final Four. I mean, he got to the Elite Eight. I mean, he's done a great job with that program. Now, it has slipped some, and I guess probably there's pressure, and Notre Dame wants to have a new voice. But certainly Coach Bray did a great job at Delaware before going to Notre Dame, and he can still coach. I'm sure he'll have offers. There's going to be some jobs open up. Certainly, I don't expect to see him at Texas. At the same time, and here's the other interesting thing, Richard. I don't know if you heard the show yesterday on the drive. I was with Steve Moulton, but I'll tell you, we even went over this. Chris Beard, he's been cleared of all those charges at Texas. I think Ole Miss is going to make a change. It'll be interesting to see if Ole Miss looks at Chris Beard. That would be.
I mean, because you kind of have to take a chance, and I guess you had Hugh Freeze down there before, so. But I mean, the one thing is, he would win there easily.
Yeah, I mean, he could get him to the tournament. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this dude almost won the national championship at Texas Tech.
One other thing is, only the high school games, what do they not play at night for? Just so the kids could be home, or all the games are pretty much early and mid-afternoon, and you never have any of the games, a 6 or 7:30 tip at all.
Well, they do. It's just that it doesn't happen until later in the week. It's usually because as you've seen, and of course it had to be rescheduled, but a lot of the 7A games, due to not having sub-regionals, they're played first, and they play them early. But as we went over the schedule that's been revised, and even the one that Jacksonville State that has not been, because Jacksonville State, JSU, as I mentioned earlier, they have not rescheduled any of theirs, but when you look at it, the reason they didn't have any night games yesterday over at JSU is because of the men's program playing. But when you talk about Friday, they're going to play until today. They're playing through 7:30 today, and then they're playing the same thing. They're going to do the same thing on Saturday, Let me make sure. They're not doing it on Saturday either because JSU is playing another home game, but they're playing through 7:30 tonight, and then they're not playing at night on Saturday due to Jacksonville State. But then the rest of the week, starting Monday, they will be playing games through 7:30, including Oakwood Academy, our good friends over there, and they'll be playing at 7:30. And then the championship games start cranking up on Tuesday, and when you don't have as many games, the last game will be at like 5:45, like if, for example, over at JSU, because you're just playing the championship games. But pretty much all these venues, you're going to start seeing all-day action through 7:30. Because trust me, I did Wallace Live Stats for like 7 years, and those are some long days, man. You get there at 8 a.m. and you start at 9, and then you roll all the way through. Usually, you don't get out of the arena until after 9. So it's some long days of basketball. But for guys like me, I love it, and I'll be at Wallace today because I know you watched Hoover earlier this year, but Hoover's going to be taking on Austin. I'm very interested in that game, and I'm very interested in our game that will be on 97.7 The Zone as well, the Buckhorn Bucks and Caleb Holt taking on Coleman.
I got a storming the court question. At what point or what ranking do you not storm the court? I saw Purdue lost to Maryland, and they stormed the court, but isn't Purdue like 3rd or 4th now?
Yeah, but they've been number one for so long, yeah.
At what point do you go, well, we don't storm the court because they're number 5? I mean, you're kind of – I can understand number 1, but after number 1, you kind of scratch your head and go, they're number 3.
Well, I guess it's just because of Tyler Eady, and then they've been number one for the majority of the season. And I think Maryland's got a really good program, but let's just be honest, where they're at right now, with Kevin Willard, they're not expecting to win games like that. That's what I've always said. If you storm the floor, you weren't expecting to win, just like when Alabama lost to Oklahoma so dramatic. I mean, that was anticlimactic. Oklahoma dominated that game, and they still stormed the floor because they didn't expect to win.
Yeah, like I said, though, it's kind of, it's one thing if the team's number one or something, but after that, you just kind of scratch your head and go, why are you storming the court? They're number 3, and Purdue is, there's no great teams this year. A lot of really good teams out, but I mean, they got, several weaknesses, outside of, Edney. Well, actually, compared to past Purdue teams, I mean, they, a lot of times Purdue's bringing out about 5, 6, 7 excellent ball players, and they're not really doing it. Just Edney's so much better than anybody else. Like I said, I was just I knew you could see them getting ready to storm the court because they had a pretty big lead most of the second half out. But I'm just going, they're number 3. Don't you stop at a certain point? Not rush the floor anymore. So. No doubt.
Well, enjoy the weekend basketball, man. I know you're probably going to go to Tuscaloosa. I'm going to be there on Saturday and see if they can bounce back.
I got a Georgia buddy. Hopefully, he won't wear his national championship shirt. Or maybe go bump into him. So, see you later, Drew.
To see you, Richard. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, we are going to wrap up hour 1 of Talkin' Ball on this Friday. Stay with us here on ESPN 97.7 The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
All across the nation, we are here for our communities.
We're doing our part to get supplies where it's needed in order to fight COVID-19 together.
Got to do what we got to do, helping the people that did lose their jobs and lost their income, and now they don't have money for their food.
It feels good to be out there to assist our community with what we're dealing with. It's what you sign up for as a soldier.
We will not rest until the mission is complete.
Each one of these soldiers, once they received the call, they understood that all hands were on deck. This goes to the core of what citizen soldiers do.
We are your Army National Guard.
I would like our friends and family to know that your National Guardsmen are always ready and always there.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Here's a list of what we have. The Crimson Tide Sports Network. The Atlanta Braves Radio Network. Madison Academy Football. UAH Basketball. The SEC Radio Network. The College Football National Championship Game. The SEC Football Championship Game. NBA Playoffs. MLB Playoffs. And that's just the starting lineup. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That fact is important for you to know.
Highway 53 is still a problem between Kelly Springs and Jeff Road. Got a traffic signal headache, Monroe and Washington. We had a tree reported down on Rescue Road in Morgan County. That's near Cherokee Ridge. Accident-wise, it looks like everything from earlier is cleared. Someone dies from heart disease every 36 seconds. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue can help you keep your heart healthy. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
As we turn that corner into February, Valentine's Day just around the corner. If you want to make sure that Valentine's Day dinner stays nice and toasty, give Talent Heating and Air a call. Thomas, you got everything to make sure that Valentine's Day goes smooth.
Yeah, if you're trying to turn up the heat this Valentine's Day, we've got the special for you. $1,000 off and you keep your Valentine warm.
That's Talent Heating and Air's Valentine's Day special. Let them know where you can call.
Yeah, you can call us at 256-503-4490.
It's Talent Heating and Air, making sure everything stays rosy on Valentine's Day.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. Visit ISSA online for details.
Tired of the 9-to-5 grind? Looking for something different that's flexible, fulfilling, and pays well? How'd you like to get paid to work out? Now you can with ISSA, the global leader in personal fitness certification.
There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers right now. And once you get ISSA certified, they guarantee you'll get a job. Trainers can make as much as $200 an hour. Yes, I said $200 an hour. And with ISSA, you can be certified in as little as 4 weeks. Just text BENCH to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online.
Pursue your passion in specializations like yoga, nutrition, or strength training. Live life on your terms. Get certified and train like you want. Start your own business, work at a gym, or make health and fitness your side hustle. Whatever works for you. Just don't wait.
Get started today and be certified in as little as 4 weeks. Just text BENCH to 323232 right now to get started for free. Text the word BENCH to 323232. Text BENCH to 323232.
Suffering from emotional pain and mental health conditions? Intensive Outpatient Programs, or IOP, is a rich addition to your continued individual therapy. Group members realize they're not alone and that others have similar difficulties. Hearing and sharing different ways to think and cope can be encouraging, empowering, and promote healing. In most cases, treatment is covered by insurance and no doctor referral is needed. Virtual IOP sessions available. Take your first step to wellness by calling 205-999-5247 or log on iopservicesllc.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Welcome back. We are wrapping up hour 1 of Talking Ball here on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. Big thanks to Richard for the phone call. Loves to talk hoops, man. He's a hoopaholic like myself. as we said, he's going to be headed out to the University of Alabama for the game in Tuscaloosa, as the Tide is going to take on Mike White's Georgia Bulldogs. We already talked about Zach Edey, who's probably the front runner for the National Player of the Year, Purdue. He kind of mentioned it, but Purdue took it on the chin last night. They lost to Kevin Willard's Maryland Terrapins, and Maryland's 18-8. I think they're going to make the tournament. But they rout Purdue 68-54. Purdue now 23-4. They're ranked third in the country. 18 points and 8 rebounds from Zach Edey. But again, Purdue falls, and so they will not be back up to number 1 next week. I don't think Alabama will be. It's probably going to be Houston. As long as they get through the weekend unscathed, they're going to ascend back to the top of the polls. And again, you want to be at the top of the polls when it counts the most. So we'll see, no doubt about it. And then word from Jimmy Lay, who I know called in this week as well, does a great job covering Westminster. And, of course, Scott Tyson's out there at the VBC in the Probst Arena. But Westminster's Marcus Wright is going for his 3rd straight state championship in the 126-pound weight class wrestling-wise. And so he's in the semifinals today, and he's going to try to become a 3-time state champion for Westminster. Appreciate Jimmy sending in the word for that, as Scott's going to be over there emceeing that event, and that's where he is on assignment the rest of this week, and why I'm flying solo here. And in the second hour, going to have a special studio guest. Freddie Kirby from Southeastern Athletics is going to be back with us, as we're going to talk more high school basketball. We got a couple of prominent high school coaches that are going to join us, including, as we said, to start the hour, Desmond Phillips, the head basketball coach, first year, former Austin Black Bear, and now was hired by our good friend Jake Miles on the staff, and has now taken over for Major Deacon in his first season. And the Black Bears have just, and I think they like it, they've quietly flown under the radar. They've been on a huge winning streak, have not lost since their second round their defeat, because again, everybody gets 3 games in the Classic now, but they did lose in the winners bracket to Huntsville High 58-45, but they have bounced back with a vengeance since that time and have not dropped a game and are rolling along, and now will have the huge challenge of taking on the Hoover Bucks. Hoover Bucks have been ranked in the top 5 in the state for the entire season pretty much. They gave Huntsville High their worst loss over at Hoover. Very, very talented team led by a couple of big-time sophomores. And so the Hoover Bucks are a very, very good team, very good program, and they will take on the Austin Black Bears out at Wallace State, and we will be there today for that 4:30 matchup. So that's going to be a big one, and Desmond Phillips is going to be good enough to join us at the top of this next hour on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and talk some Black Bear basketball and what's been the key for his squad playing so well and breaking into the top 10 in the latest poll. And they've really been playing great basketball, being very connected, very athletic, and it's a program at Austin that's used to winning. Bob Harp, of course, winning a state championship there, and Jake Miles reaching the Final Four recently. Always really good players at Austin. Damon Garth, the same situation. He reached the Final Four as well. He is now the principal there, I believe, at Austin, and he's in administration, but certainly it's a kind of a family school over there. They like to see their own, coaching the squad. Stuart Allen certainly did a great job there taking over for Bob Hart, but they've had a lot of really good coaches over there, no question about it. And, of course, Desmond Phillips is continuing that in year 1, and he is going to join us next when we come back here for the last hour of the week on Talking Ball. Desmond Phillips, Austin Black Bears head coach, going to join us. Stay with us. Hour number 2 coming up as we end this week here on 97.7 The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert. The Boston Celtics are the favorite to win the NBA title heading into All-Star Weekend in Utah. Celtics plus 310. The second choice Phoenix plus 425. The Milwaukee Bucks won 12 consecutive games heading into the All-Star break. They are 6-1. They're a half game behind Boston for the top seed of the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee plus 250 to overtake the Celtics for the Eastern Conference crown. Pitchers and catchers this week. The full squad's next week in spring training. Houston Astros a 6-1 favorite to repeat as World Series champions. In the NHL today, Edmonton $1.20 home ice favorite against the New York Rangers, who are even money. Mike Sennett from VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back to Talkin' Ball on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. Final hour of the week. We appreciate everybody, as always, for supporting us and joining us. No guests in the first hour. We basically just talked some high school basketball, took your calls. Richard called in. We talked a little bit of college basketball because, as we said, Purdue and Zach Edey, they go down yesterday 68-54 to Maryland. Maryland, under Kevin Willard, first-year coach from Seton Hall, doing a great job. They're 18-8. They now Purdue 23-4, still probably a favorite to be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, but they go down last night on Thursday. So Purdue has lost 3 of their last 4, so they're struggling a little bit. But again, you got to work the kinks out, got to be ready to roll in postseason play when it really counts, and this next squad has done that. They are ranked number 10 in the last poll before the playoffs in 7A, but they have been playing exceptional basketball at a very, very high level since we last saw them at the Huntsville City Classic, and we last spoke to this coach before his team took the floor there. He's doing an amazing job in year 1 for the Austin Black Bears. He is former Black Bear, and now he was an assistant coach with the program as well, and now head coach, and that's Desmond Phillips, and they will be taking the floor at Wallace State at 4:30 late this afternoon against the Coleman Bearcats, and he's been good enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, welcome back to 97.7 The Zone, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. You got to be doing good, man. Since we last spoke to you, you guys have completely got it rolling in year 1. Haven't lost since the Huntsville City Classic. Ran through a really tough area in 7A Area 8, unbeaten, and then won the area championship on your home floor. Did a great job winning 62-45 over a really solid Bob Jones squad, and now get a chance to take the floor today, late this afternoon, against a really talented Hoover squad. But what's been the key for your kids playing so well under your leadership and getting it rolling after the Huntsville City Classic?
The biggest thing for us has been trust and execution. We really started to trust each other, trust that we're going to be in certain spots on the floor, trusting guys to knock down shots, and just executing offensively and defensively, talking about rotations on defense and running our stuff on offense and getting good looks. We always talk about good, better, best as far as shot selection. What is a good shot? What is a better shot? What's the best shot we can get? And so that's really helped us on this surge.
Yeah, Coach, this is Freddie Kirby with Southeastern Recruiting. I met you last year when I brought Coach Derek Powell from Calhoun over to your school to introduce him to y'all the second day he was on the job. But I was also doing the live stats during the Hustle Times Classic, and one thing that really stood out to me about your team that day was how aggressive and in-your-face defense your team was, and making life miserable for the guards to try to get the balls down the floor and execute their offense.
Yeah, that's something we kind of hang our hats on is defense. I've told them that you can't score unless you stop them from scoring, and so we take pride on the defensive end, talking and communicating, and again, that goes back to that trust factor. If you get beat, your brother should be there to help.
No question about it. And Austin's always been athletic, always kind of hung their hats on defense. And, I was talking to your mentor, Jake Miles. Of course, we know he's an administrator and now an assistant coach at Hartselle. And I was the Huntsville High played Hartselle this year, and we were kind of catching up. And I was telling him, I enjoyed watching your team play at the Huntsville City Classic, and he jokingly told me, next time you see Dez, he goes, when you talk to him, he goes, just tell him that I still don't think he played hard enough. And we got a big laugh out of that. And I know he meant a lot to you, and Jake's just a great guy. I mean, he comes from a coaching family. His dad was a legend at Austin too. But just talk about playing for Coach, and then he also hired you, and what he's kind of meant to your career.
He's meant a lot. It's coaching me. He always pushed you more than you thought you could go, and I've learned so much from him, from a player standpoint, but from a coaching standpoint, just the way he approached the game, how he loved his family, how he loved his wife. That was always things that I admired about Coach Miles, and he actually made me come to an interview. I was out of state at the time.
Nice.
And I was on spring break, and he was like, "You got an interview today." And he brought me in and brought me back home, and I'll forever be grateful for him and what he did for me and my family.
No question about it. And certainly Jake has meant a lot to a lot of people, and I know he got Austin back to the Final Four. You're looking to do that. And you talked about your team offensively improving, learning to share the ball not sticking, and good, better, best. And as far as offensive approach, as far as individually players, everybody once you change coaches, they have to get used to the new coach and get used to the style. And of course, you were also an assistant there. But now that you're well into your first season and nearing the end of it with this long postseason run, what has been your biggest adjustment during the season with the players, and how have you gotten? How has the buy-in been from everyone, both coaching staff wise and from the kids?
The buy-in has not been as hard as a lot of people would think, or as I would have thought coming in. As soon as I got the job, the kids were ready. They were texting me, they were calling me, saying, "Coach, we're ready to work." And a lot of them I had when I first got here, and I coached 7th grade, so they're sophomores and juniors now, and they kind of had a feel for what I wanted to do and how I approach the game, and it's really helped as far as the relationships I already had and them understanding. And my coaching staff, we've been together as all of us as assistants, and so we kind of already gelled well, and I let my assistants do a lot because I trust them. So when it comes to scouts and it comes to substitutions and different things, we go over it before a game, and I just let them execute it. And so far, it's been a great thing for us.
Yeah, Coach. I guess having a principal that's a former basketball coach don't hurt either. And I think y'all go way back, and I think y'all are very good friends and everything based off what I seen the day I was at Austin High School and everything. And you were talking about your offense earlier and everything. The 2 games that I was able to see you at the Huntsville City Classic and everything, looked like when your wings scored, y'all won the games.
Yes. We got some pretty good ball players, and Jordan Johnson and Cameron Collins, and they really started to gel and work together. and so they kind of make us go. And when they're locked in offensively and defensively, it makes the team go.
Certainly does. And Coach, talk about the challenge of playing Hoover. I saw them earlier this year against Huntsville, and they've got some very talented players, and some of them are young, like Salim London, Tariq London, former Alabama point guard's son. He's just a sophomore, very lefty, really crafty, good guard. They got Dwayne Brown, who I've compared to a young Michael Ansley. He certainly gave Huntsville all they wanted over there. They've got Peyton Hatch. They've got some really interesting pieces there. Really a very talented squad. I know they didn't win their area because Vestavia is very, very good as well. But talk about your program getting a chance to go up against Hoover, and your program broke into the top 10 late in the season. They've been highly ranked all year. That doesn't matter now. What matters is how well your team's playing, and as we already talked about, your team's playing outstanding basketball. But talk about the challenge of playing against Hoover later this evening.
Like you said, they are not a one-dimensional team. They can hit you from all angles, and that's kind of what we've been focusing on all week, on how to contain and how we're going to guard all of these multiple threats. Like you said, London, a crafty left-hand guard that can get to the rim and can pretty much score at all three levels. And then something, we've been trying to get here at Austin, a 6'9", 6'10" kid, but just preparing for that, knowing that it's going to be a physical game, but we really believe that if we do what we're supposed to do and follow the game plan, then we got a really good chance.
No doubt, and I think we're all looking forward to it, and it's certainly going to be a challenge for your kids, but this is one I'm sure they relish. I mean, anytime you're 2 games away from going to the Final Four, and this is a program that's a 3-time state championship program, just recently, a few years ago, went to the Final Four under Coach Jake Miles. I thought that team with Javen Johnson, of course, his brother now one of your better players, I thought they had a real good shot to win the Final Four, but it came up a little short. But I'm sure these kids are hungry to get back, and this is what you play for. This is what you work for, and I know they are looking forward to this challenge, I'm sure, Coach.
Yeah, they're very hungry. These seniors don't want it to end, and they've kind of took lead and told the guys, like, we're going to fight to the end, and no matter what happens, we're going to finish together. But they really believe, and that's been the biggest turnaround as far as since Christmas. Like they had a team meeting without coaches.
There you go.
And they said it's our senior year, and this is how we're gonna go out. And since then, it's been a completely different team.
Yeah, you told us that, your senior point guard, De'Aaron Young, senior Cam Collins, and I was really impressed with Collins in the Huntsville City Classic. I thought he shot it really well. Jeremiah Ayers, all those guys, and of course Jordan Johnson. Just being he is lucky you'll have him back. Javen's brother, he's just a junior, but I know the senior leadership has been important for you with these guys, and as you said, that players-only meeting was, in your mind, was that the turning point for when everything started falling into place and you guys started to win games?
I believe it was, because when you have a senior like De'Aaron, who is a quarterback on the football field, so he's used to, leading. So when he takes that charge and that initiative on the basketball team and says, follow me, you really get people buying in, because it's good to hear from a coach. You hear from coaches all the time, but when you have a player that says, don't just do what I say, follow me and do what I do, and he sets the tone in practices, in games, that's something that's going to be hard to replace.
It will be, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Coach, having that kind of leadership on the floor and watching you coach at the Classic and everything, it seems like your kids really have bought into you and they believe in you and respect you. And the schedule that you have faced this year, in my opinion, has prepared you to where you are now. And going against a team like Hoover, they're not going to be intimidated.
Not at all. And that was the biggest thing with my scheduling. I wanted to make it as tough as possible. I didn't want us to get any games where we just didn't have to do things the right way, where we would win without doing things the right way, because that never helps. So when it came to scheduling, I wanted to play as many top opponents as I could. We played the Hewitt Trussell, the Spain Parks, the Vestavias, the Huntsvilles, Sparkmans, and Jacksonville, and all of those teams. Ramsey, Huffman. We played so many teams that ended in the ranking. We played a couple number one teams, and I think that really helped build our character, and it showed our kids we could play with anybody. Because usually it's a shock when you get to those Birmingham teams for our program. So I wanted to expose them to that as early and often as possible.
Final question for you, Coach, and we really appreciate the time on this morning before you play Hoover at 4:30 this afternoon in Hanceville. But what are a couple of the keys for you to being able to beat this very talented Hoover Buck squad?
For us, it's limiting them to one shot and executing on the offensive end.
That's going to be the big key, no question, because a lot of size there, and if you can win the rebounding battle and defend at a really high level and turn Hoover over, you've got a chance to advance to the Elite Eight. Well, Coach, good luck to you. We certainly are very proud of the job you've done in year one, reestablishing Austin as a program that is a state championship contender, certainly. But congratulations, man, and really appreciate the time, and good luck later this afternoon.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. That's Desmond Phillips. We're going to go on a break, and we're going to continue here taking your calls, 256-576-4977 here on Talkin' Ball on this Friday.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Not a bad-looking morning at this point. 53 between Kelly Springs and Jeff Road, still a problem area. Other than that, I don't see any snags for you. You be careful on the rest of that trip in. Popeye's famous chicken sandwich is only $4.99. Crispy, tender chicken on a delicious toasted brioche bun. Love that chicken from Popeye's, University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
The college basketball regular season is winding down, and the football specials at Humphrey's Bar and Grill are now going to extend into basketball season with football specials during every Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Don't miss Humphrey's game day specials from $2.75 Miller Lite, Yingling, Coors Light pints, $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold pints. Anytime Auburn or Alabama is on the screen, Humphrey's, always a party, never a cover. Located online at humphrey'sdowntown.com.
Terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. Visit ISSA online for details.
Tired of the 9-to-5 grind? Looking for something different that's flexible, fulfilling, and pays well? How'd you like to get paid to work out? Now you can with ISSA, the global leader in personal fitness certification.
There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers right now. And once you get ISSA certified, they guarantee you'll get a job. Trainers can make as much as $200 an hour. Yes, I said $200 an hour. And with ISSA, you can be certified in as little as 4 weeks. Just text BENCH to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online.
Pursue your passion in specializations like yoga, nutrition, or strength training. Live life on your terms. Get certified and train like you want. Start your own business, work at a gym, or make health and fitness your side hustle. Whatever works for you. Just don't wait.
Get started today and be certified in as little as 4 weeks. Just text BENCH to 323232 right now to get started for free. Text the word BENCH to 323232. Text BENCH to 323232.
Over 60 years ago, our founding father taught us the value of being dedicated to long-term customer satisfaction in every transaction we do, sales, parts, and service. Bobby White here for Woody Anderson Ford, thanking you for your loyalty for over 60 years. And we promise to keep working hard to earn your business every day. Just so happens that for 46 of those 60 years, our F-150 has been the best-selling truck in America. And now is a great time to drive one. We've got over 100 F-150s to choose from, and financing as low as 2.9% for up to 5 years on 2022 F-150s. With your good credit through Ford Motor Credit, offer ends February 28th. Or if a nearly new Ford fits you better, trade in and trade up to a Ford Gold Certified or Blue Certified pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or crossover. Great warranties, 24-hour roadside assistance, and you'll take them home with a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Woody Anderson Ford celebrating over 60 years of service to Huntsville, and we look forward to serving you.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship Jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's Club Repair Shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner, unmatched in the North Alabama area. It is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslandinggolf.com. That's gunnerslandinggolf.com.
Welcome back to this Friday edition of Talkin' Ball. Big thanks to Desmond Phillips and the Austin Black Bears as they're going to take the floor unbeaten since the Huntsville City Classic. Their last loss to Huntsville High a few months ago, 58-45, but they have been perfect since then. And, Freddie, they're going to take on the Hoover Bucks. Hoover with that Salim London, Dwayne Brown combination. Also, as we said, the young man that transferred from out of state from Orlando, Peyton Hatch, another kid with a lot of size. But Hoover's very talented, but yet so is Austin. Going to be an interesting clash of styles, a lot of size against the speed and athleticism of Austin.
Anytime you got a situation where the teams are kind of like the reversal of each other and everything, it's going to come down who could force their way onto the other. And Hoover, I didn't have the fortune to see them like you did and everything, but I know they got very good young talent. And for them to beat Huntsville, which I've seen three or four times play and everything, tells me a lot about them. Austin, defensive-wise, is going to be in your face. And it's going to come down to the guards for Hoover, which I know London is a very strong guard. And then can they handle the pressure, and can Austin get the steals, play a full-length game, and get easy layups to make the game easier?
Yeah, turning them over, I definitely agree, going to be a big key in the game. And De'Aaron Young, really good senior point guard, very quick. And as we said, they've got, they're led by three seniors who are really good players. And, of course, one of them being Cam Collins, who's a really crafty, he's an inside-outside guy. They don't have a ton of size at Austin, but he can play inside and out, no question about it. Jeremiah Ayers, another post player, a senior that's led that team too. But Jordan Johnson, Javen Johnson, who is now at DePaul, his brother, a really good guard as well. It's a perimeter team for Austin, but as Freddie said, a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism as they're getting ready to do that. So looks like it's going to be a great day of basketball over there at Wallace State, and certainly Freddie and I are going to be over there taking in all the action. And, of course, Freddie was also pointing out the NFL. There's still a lot of draft buzz. They're talking about should the Bears trade Justin Fields and draft Bryce Young. I say hell no, because I do not want Bryce Young anywhere near the Chicago Bears, which is basically where quarterbacks go to die. I don't want that. I'd rather, if there's somebody's going to trade up, may it be Indianapolis, who actually have an offensive line, actually have a running back, actually have some skill players that would help Bryce succeed. I don't want, I'll just say this, and I never thought I'd say it. I'd much rather Bryce Young go to the Jets, and I've never wanted anybody to really go to the Jets. But the Jets at least showed signs this year of having a supporting cast now that can help a quarterback. They just made the mistake of drafting someone in Zach Wilson who played against nobody at BYU and then looked great in a 7-on-7 workout, which isn't a real football game.
And there's a situation there where you draft Zach Wilson, like you said, they're not going against a meaty schedule like Bryce Young does and everything. And NFL GMs are going to learn eventually, if ever in doubt, go to the SEC. Draft somebody from the SEC, you're going to get a football player. And as I told y'all at the last Greenbrier meeting that we had and everything, I'm still waiting on that book to come out. And if this trade goes down, I ain't a doubt in my mind that book will be wrote. Because Justin Fields come out of high school as the number one player in the country. And the title of this book is How I Hate Alabama. Because he stood on the sideline and watched Tua come from behind and beat him at 2nd and 26. The following year, they sneak him in on a fake punt. The ball goes to him, and he can't get a first down, and Jalen comes back and beats him. He transfers out of Georgia and goes to Ohio State and says, I'm getting away from all that. Then he has to face Mac Jones in the national championship game and gets run off the field. And now he's going to get traded for Bryce and everything. So he's going to run. He's just going to quit football just so he can get away from Alabama.
Well, it would be cool for the Alabama program to have their first number one overall pick. It's interesting that when the process first started after the Sugar Bowl and Bryce's last game, that there was more talk about Will Levis for some unknown reason. It sounded like Zach Wilson, the sequel to me.
And that's still the case on some of them.
Not with that number one pick. That's kind of fallen to the wayside. And of course, then there was Jalen Carter. From Georgia, dominant D tackle, and that could still be the case if Chicago keeps the pick. I mean, they need players, but I think they're more likely to trade it because they need football players. They need picks. They need not just one guy. They could use several, and they could use that value of the number one pick and Bryce Young to fortify their roster. They've already got Justin Fields. They could still trade down and get Jalen Carter. That could easily happen. No question about it, but we will see, and he's a dominant football player. But it looks like in the last few weeks, the Bryce Young buzz has started. And if you watch the film, like Freddie said, it's an SEC competition. He's a wizard. He elevated that Alabama offense for 2 years. He played at Mater Dei, one of the best high school programs in the country. He certainly played against top-level competition his entire career, and it looks like maybe he could become the first, Cornelius Bennett being the highest drafted player ever at number 2 in 1987. But looks like Bryce Young could be the first number one overall pick in Alabama history, which would be yet another milestone, Freddie, for Nick Saban.
And that's basically one of the few things that he lacks is having the number one overall player drafted in the country, but it ain't going to hurt my feelings if he goes number 2 to Houston instead of Chicago. But if Indianapolis
D'Amico Ryans, I could take that. I mean, now I will say this. They're going to have to immediately start upgrading the offensive line and some of the skill position talent. That's the only thing that would make me nervous about Houston. But certainly I think they'll be sound defensively under D'Amico, but they need to surround the quarterback, help the QB, and that would be a big key there for Houston. But, yes, if Bryce Young went to Houston, I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
And one of the first moves, if you're going to draft Bryce, one of the first moves you need to make is go back and get DeAndre Hopkins to come back and be his number one target.
Yeah, I believe he got cut, didn't he?
He's in the process of either getting cut or traded. And
so I would want to get out of Arizona too. I mean, it's not exactly the bastion of good football.
And but Houston would be a good fit. And now, if Indianapolis trades up to number 1, as most people expect they will, and of course I don't want none of what the last mock draft I've seen says they're trading from 4 to 1 to get Anthony Richardson.
Oh Lord! You're talking about a disaster. I mean, or at least a potential one. I mean, look, if it was underwear Olympics and a longest throwing contest and a 7-on, I mean, Anthony Richardson would test off the charts. But you have to neck up, brother. You got to be able to read. You got to be able to make a throw. It doesn't really matter if you can throw it 70 yards if you can't hit a target. I mean, guy's got a lot of potential, but potential gets you fired. I've said that for years on this show. And so if you're comparing Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson, give yourself a lobotomy if you think Richardson's the better player. I mean, you just don't know the game.
Very true, and everything.
Dude, Anthony Richardson just reminds me of that quarterback, that college quarterback that can really just dominate by just being bigger than everybody else.
But he never even dominated in college, man. He wasn't even consistent.
Well, exactly, but he hasn't done that yet.
Cardell Jones reincarnate.
I mean, because remember who made a staple out of that? Another Florida quarterback in Tim Tebow, and that was his staple, with just being bigger than everybody else in college.
You cannot even put Tim Tebow and Anthony Richardson in the same conversation.
For play style that works for him, wise, yeah. But this is not the same case for Anthony Richardson. He needs another year at least at Florida to just develop a little more.
I mean, Anthony Richardson can't clean Tim Tebow's bathroom, brother. I don't care about throwing mechanics and all that other crap. I just know what I watched on the field, and Tim Tebow is 10 times better football player than Anthony Richardson. Not even close, no doubt. But I know we need to go on a break. When we come back, Tom Berryman, head basketball coach of the Madison Academy Mustangs. They've got a huge game coming up on Tuesday. We're going to talk to him about his Mustangs, much like Desmond Phillips, have made a great run since Christmas, playing their best basketball. Now they're in the Sweet 16. We're going to talk to him next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Friday, expect mostly clouds. High temperatures expected to top out in the low 40s for the afternoon. We could see gusty winds as high as 25 miles per hour. Heading into your Friday night, a mostly clear sky. Low temperatures expected to bottom out in the mid-20s. We could continue to see gusty winds as high as 20 miles per hour. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We're beginning to wind things down this morning. We're in pretty good shape. I don't see anything new accident-wise. Still got the situation on 53 between Kelly Springs and Jeff Road, and the schools on Jeff are starting 2 hours late this morning to help with that traffic problem. Snelling needs a paralegal with experience in family law. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Alabama's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. Visit ISSA online for details.
Tired of the 9-to-5 grind? Looking for something different that's flexible, fulfilling, and pays well? How'd you like to get paid to work out? Now you can with ISSA, the global leader in personal fitness certification.
There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers right now. And once you get ISSA certified, they guarantee you'll get a job. Trainers can make as much as $200 an hour. Yes, I said $200 an hour. And with ISSA, you can be certified in as little as 4 weeks. fees. Just text BENCH to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online.
Pursue your passion in specializations like yoga, nutrition, or strength training. Live life on your terms. Get certified and train like you want. Start your own business, work at a gym, or make health and fitness your side hustle. Whatever works for you. Just don't wait.
Get started today and be certified in as little as 4 weeks. Just text BENCH to 323232 right now to get started for free. Text the word BENCH to 323232. Text BENCH to 323232.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. We're rolling along here on this Friday. We just talked to Desmond Phillips, his team on fire, as they will take on the Hoover Bucks later today at 4:30 at Wallace State, Hanceville, as they have done an outstanding job of getting hot at the right time and playing really good basketball, no doubt about that. And our next guest has done the same thing since we saw his team at the Huntsville City Classic. They certainly had a tough draw. It's as deep a field as we've ever had. We talked about them having to play Huntsville High in the first round, but he's been, establishing his own culture, because anytime you take over for a coach of the caliber of an Andy Blackston, a Hall of Famer, now at Brentwood Academy, who led Madison Academy to 5 state championships and did an outstanding job. And let me correct myself too. Actually, Coach Blackston, he did win 5 himself. Yes, actually 6. I guess I'm shortchanging him here. I don't want to shortchange Coach because in '99, of course. Well, no, I am shortchanging him. I've got it. My brain's not working this morning. '99, they won the state championship due to Cortland having an issue after the fact. And had a great basketball team, though, that reached the finals. 2006, it was maybe, and Coach Blackston had a lot of great teams. But I think that team with Danny Petty coached in 06 may have been the best 3A team I've ever seen in my life. They won the state championship over Sumter County at the time by 25 points, I believe. They were outstanding in 2006, and they nearly won the Huntsville City Classic. They lost in a classic game to the Sparkman Senators earlier in December of 05. They lost at the buzzer, but that Madison Academy team was outstanding. And then in 07, that's when Coach Blackston started his run. He did win 5 state championships, as I said earlier, and reached 11 Final Fours during his 16 years with the school. But now Tom Berryman has taken over the reins there, and in his first year, they have really started hitting their stride at the right time. They have advanced to Wallace State. They will take on, a really talented squad coming up in the Ramsey Rams, who under Denton Johnson are the #1 team in 5A. But I'm sure they're certainly looking forward to it. When we talked to him in December, he and his team were still getting a feel for each other. They were still trying to hit their stride. But Madison Academy, much like under Andy Blackston, always seemed to play well this time of year. I know they had a heartbreaking loss in Andy's last game in the area tournament a year ago, but they have really hit their stride under first-year coach Tom Berryman, and he's been good enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, it's good to speak with you again. You're with Drew and Freddie. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Thank you guys for having me again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on with us. I know when we last spoke with you in December, you felt like you were making progress, and you guys were, and your team, your point guard had been injured before the season, though. You were kind of trying to define people's roles. You had a really tough matchup with Huntsville, but you still felt like your squad was growing. But what's been the key to all the pieces starting to come together for you and your team playing so well, starting about a month ago and toward the tail end of the regular season and then going into area play?
Well, we finally gotten healthy, Drew. We've had a lot of guys injured at different points of the season. Cameron Bell, who's our point guard, missed almost the entire season, and he just got back with us in the past couple of weeks and has kind of given us another spark. But we've had guys out with, Jalen Blackwell was out the past couple of weeks with a sprained ankle, and I'm not sure he's quite back 100%, but getting close. And we've had guys with a bunch of different injuries. So we're finally just kind of getting everybody back healthy, finally able to get everybody playing together really for the first time all season. But through all of that, our guys did a really good job of sticking together through some a difficult schedule early, and sometimes we lost a lot of close games early in the year against some really good teams where maybe we played fairly well but just couldn't close them out, and we had a lot of guys playing different roles than they had played in the past or different positions even due to injury. And so the thing that stood out to me most about these guys is they stayed the course, they stayed together, they've been really connected all year and just continued to trust in one another that we were going to get this thing figured out once we got everybody back together. And I think the fact that we won 8 out of our last 9, and seem to be playing our best ball at the right time, is a testament to them for sure.
It certainly is, Coach. There's no doubt about it. And you guys now 20-12, I believe, on the season. 20 wins in year 1, but as you said, 8 out of 9 you've won, which is a red-hot streak. Getting Cam Bell back is certainly huge. And getting being able to get him ingratiated for 2 weeks as the area is about to start up, I'm sure that was just invaluable for your squad.
Yeah, for sure. Cam had a great summer. We expect him to have a really good year for us. In the past, he didn't play a lot because he played behind a really good player in Drew Blackston, who's playing Division II basketball now in college. And so, Drew is a really good player. And so Cam kind of got spot minutes in the past. We kind of expected him to really take the next step this year. And then unfortunately, about a week before the season, he broke his leg, and was told that he might be out 5 to 6 months potentially. But testament to him, he crushed his rehab. He did everything he was supposed to do, and our training staff and his doctors and everybody worked together to get him back out here as quick as possible, and he's really given us a spark.
He really has, I know, and I know you're excited about it. And Coach, what area of your team, though, getting Cam back and being that true point guard? I know you guys were basically playing for much of the year, with not a true point on the floor. We know. What that can do to a squad, because it's like a chess game. You want all the pieces to fit. But what's been the biggest key besides getting Cam back? Who are the kids that have improved the most in your mind, that have stepped forward and gotten comfortable in their roles and played well?
Well, Cam's just kind of allowed guys to get back to their natural positions. Cody Bearlocker is senior, 6'6" senior, going to go play at Swanee next year. He's averaging, I think, 17 a game this year, had a really good year. And Cody's led us all year. But Cody kind of had to step in and play the point for most of the season at 6'6". He's more of a natural wing. That kind of having Cam back kind of gets Cody off the ball more. We can run a little bit more screening action for him and have him involved as a scorer a little bit more instead of being a facilitator. But we've had a lot of different guys step up. When guys have gone down this year, we've had some guys that we expected to step up, and maybe some guys that did a little bit more than we expected. We've got a Michael Stanford, a freshman that plays inside for us, averaging 8 points and 9 rebounds and shooting over 70% from the field. And we expected him to help us a little bit this year, but didn't expect him maybe to do that early on. But he's had some monster games. He had I think 10 points and 16 rebounds against Scottsboro, a few weeks back, who's one of the top teams in 5A. And so, he's really stepped up. I mean, let's just go down the line, though. I mean, Jalen Blackwell's played great at times for us this year. He's kind of coming back from an ankle, but kind of getting back to full speed. Lawson Pippins has been steady for us this year, playing through a torn labrum in his shoulder that he's been gutting out and playing through all year. Look at guys like Bryce Curtis, TJ Lowery, Seth Cowan, guys that have, really played well defensively, had some big games offensively for us, and just go down the line. We've had a lot of different guys step up and contribute in big ways, and so I think that's the thing about us is we've been pretty balanced. We have a lot of different guys that can put the ball in the hole, and guys have a lot of trust in their teammates that if they're going to try to take Cody away or they're going to try to take Jalen Blackwell away, that we have other guys that can step up, that can make shots, that can make plays. And so it's been a fun group to coach just because of the selflessness. Guys don't worry about the numbers. It's more about, hey, who's the best option tonight? What gives us the best chance to win the game tonight? And, guys have really bought into that.
Yeah, Coach, this is Freddie. I watched you play at the Huntsville City Classic and everything early in the season. Then, and like you're saying, when players goes down, it's an opportunity for somebody to step up and everything. And this time of year, having players take the floor with a little more confidence after getting a lot more experience on the floor is always valuable. And just like I've heard on this show this week and everything with Coach Schulman at UAH, one of his best players went down, but the team is rolling and everything. And so having that extra player to take the floor this time of year could be very valuable.
Absolutely. You just never know in the playoffs. You could have foul trouble or whatever the case may be. Somebody could roll an ankle, and so somebody else is going to have to step up. And thankfully, we've had a lot of different guys pushed into those roles early in the year due to other guys being out that we have a lot of trust in our bench, down the line. And so we have a lot of different guys that can step in and step up if needed.
And Coach, I know I'm glad you mentioned Bear Locker and what he did earlier this season, because he's a natural scorer. He's a 1,000-point scorer at Madison Academy. As you said, he's going to Sewanee to continue his education and basketball career. But anytime a guy is willing to take on point guard duties, and that's not easy, because his role has always been to score the ball and be a great rebounder, defender for you, and play a lot of roles. But point guard is not his natural position. But anytime you have a guy that's selfless enough to take on that role due to an injury situation, I think it really sets the tone for the culture of your program as well, and says a lot about his willingness to do anything it takes to win a game.
Absolutely. Cody slid over and did a really good job for us. There were a couple bumps in the road where a game or two where, hey, maybe we turned it over a little more than we needed to. But Cody grew so much through that. I think it's going to help him as he transitions to college as well, that he's had to have the ball in his hands a lot more. And I think it's helped him have to be more of a vocal leader as well, in terms of getting guys into the proper spots, really communicate even more on the floor than he normally does. So I think it definitely helped our team, I think, to see him have to kind of step into that role and figure it out on the fly, because he only had about a week's notice before our first game, before he had to really move into that role. But I definitely also think it's going to help him for the future as he transitions to playing college.
Yeah, Coach, my office is located in Russellville, Alabama, and I know you played a Lawrence County team here recently that went to overtime with Russellville High School and everything. And Russellville's had a pretty good season, so y'all had a pretty easy time with Lawrence County here recently and everything, and so it tells me what kind of ball you are playing at this time of the year.
Well, we played really well. That might have been the best game we played the other, maybe the other night's game against Lawrence County might have been the best we played all season. We really played well in the first half. And we were dealing with the Lawrence County team that was really skilled and really shoots the ball well. We went over and had scouted them in one of their games in the area tournament at Russellville. I think they made 12 threes in the first half of one of their area tournament games. And our guys did a tremendous job, for sure, guarding them. But they also probably missed some shots they normally make. I think they only made three. I think they were like 3 of 18 from the three in our game. And so they're a team that can really score in bunches and can get hot. I think we maybe caught them on the right night. And, if we'd played them in one of those games where they were playing Russellville or Brewer over in the area tournament when they were really hot, the game might have looked a little differently. But tremendous credit to our guys for really doing a great job on the defensive end and knowing personnel, trying to get out the shooters and not let those guys affect the game from the three-point line.
No doubt. And, Coach, I know, again, your squad's played well. I know the weather kind of caused some changes. Your thoughts on being pushed back a day and playing at 10:30 on Tuesday?
Well, I don't know if it really affects us a whole lot. It might affect our student crowd a little bit more. We were supposed to be out of school on Monday, so I think the fact that we're in school might affect help a few more students get down there just so they don't have to go to class. But no, we're excited about the opportunity. It's a little interesting. We have about a week between games. Normally this time of year you don't. So we have a little bit more prep time. Which is interesting how you handle that. How much do you want to give the guys? Do you want to try to go kind of overload on information or kind of do what you normally do? We're trying to figure that out right now. Our staff really dove into the film and trying to do everything we can to have these guys prepared, because we're obviously going to have to pull out all the stops playing the number one team in the state in Ramsey, who's really good. But so we're excited. If it was Monday, if it was Tuesday, it didn't really matter a whole lot to us. We're just ready to get out there and compete. It should be a great environment. We're really looking forward to the opportunity.
And final question, certainly taking on the number one team in 5A is difficult, but you've played a great schedule so far. Ramsey, we led by Troy Commit and signee Carrington Keel, Jalen Jones, a very good program under Denton Johnson. What's going to be what are your thoughts on Ramsey, and what's going to be the key to having a chance to advance to the regional finals?
Well, anytime you play the number one team in the state, they've got a lot of things right. They're probably very well coached, and they've probably got really good players, and I think that's the case for both. I think Coach Johnson has done a really good job with these guys, and They're really talented. Obviously, with the Keel kid that's going to Troy, long, athletic, can shoot the three, can play above the rim. He's going to be a major major challenge for us to get him under control and not let him go off. They have a point guard, Jalen Jones, who's one of the quickest guys in the state. 1A through 7A. I mean, he is electric with the ball in his hands, and so that's going to be a really, really big challenge for us to try to keep him away from the basket. Once he's so quick, he gets by a lot of guys one-on-one. It gets in the paint, and guys have to help, and he just creates a lot of offense for them. So getting those two guys under control is going to be a challenge. That's not all they have either. They've got, I believe, number 0, Jalen Williams, who's a 6'6" sophomore who has a chance to be a really good player here in a couple of years. I think he's already got some Division I offers, and they've got a bunch of other guys that really know how to play. They're really quick. They're probably the quickest team we've played all year. And they also have size. They have athleticism. That's why they're the number 1 team in the state. And so we definitely have our work cut out for us. But we're really excited about the opportunity. We're going to have to try to really do a great job of containing their guys off the dribble, keep them away from the rim at all costs. And so definitely going to have to try to use our length to affect shots from the perimeter. Really have to do a great job challenging shots and then rebound the ball. I talked to several coaches that have coached against Ramsey this year, and one of the things was, hey, they did a pretty good job scouting report wise, but once the shot went up, they'd do a really good job crashing the offensive glass, and some of those teams didn't do a very good job keeping them off the glass. And so, they're probably going to do a pretty good job forcing turnovers. That's one thing they're really good at. We can't let them double that up by getting extra possessions on the offensive glass too. So I think it's going to come down to the possession balance. Can we limit them to one shot and out, and can we value the ball? If we do those two things, I like our chances. If we don't do either of those things very well, it's going to be hard to win the game.
No doubt. Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Look forward to you taking the floor on Tuesday at Wallace State. Always enjoy the time, and congrats on the Mustangs' great run, this 8 out of 9, and hope you can keep it going. But thank you for joining us this morning and talking some Mustang hoops.
That was great. Thanks so much for having me, Jeff.
Thank you. That's Tom Berryman. We're going to go on a break and wrap up this week's edition of Talkin' Ball here on 97.7 The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We haven't picked up anything new accident-wise as we wind things up this morning. Everything from earlier should be clear. Still got the problems on 53 between Kelly Springs and Jeff Road. No word on when that stretch of road may reopen. The schools on Jeff Road are operating on a 2-hour delay this morning to help out with that traffic problem. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead ran away and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance, located in the Rosie's Shopping Plaza, strives to help customers find the best auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, and more. No matter where you are in life, Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance is here to help you find your best insurance and retirement needs. You can find them on the web at brianbellamyagency.com or call them at 256-539-7530. Brian Bellamy is a proud supporter of Huntsville High basketball. Brian Bellamy State Farm, here to help life go right.
Welcome back. Last few minutes of Talking Ball. If you want to give us a call, 256-576-4977. Freddie Kirby's been in studio with me for this last hour. Big thanks to Tom Berryman as his Madison Academy Mustangs 10:30 on Tuesday. They got pushed back a day. They were originally scheduled for Monday, but due to the weather, they got pushed back, and they will be the last game before the finals start. At Wallace State, Hanceville. As we said, there has been a revised schedule there. We gave it to you earlier, but that schedule is now different. But Tuesday, they will have the last game as they will take on the Ramsey Rams and Denton Johnson, Freddie.
Yeah, no, I probably should ask Coach Berryman this question instead of you and everything. But every year I go down to the tournament at Wallace State and stuff, one of the things I hear a lot is the depth perception behind the backboards and everything is a lot different than what a lot of these schools face at the high school level. And I was wondering, like Huntsville and everything, they played in a lot of different ventures and everything. So I was wondering if they played anywhere that's going to prepare them for that kind of setting.
That's a good question. I'm sure that that was part of the reason why Coach Berryman set up the schedule the way he did. I know there's been a lot of games. I cannot remember if they played in some of those over at Wallace. I know Wallace hosted games the whole year for schools. Like, for example, I went over there to see Ramsey take on a very good Scottsboro team. That was a heck of a game. And then after that, Stu Studeman's Coleman Bearcats. They took on the Pleasant Grove Spartans. And then earlier in the year, Jack Doss's Grissom Tigers took on the Hoover Bucks and gave Hoover one of their losses. I believe that was at Wallace State. So they had games all year. The Mustangs, I'm sure, will be prepared and probably may try to go shoot around. I would think they'd probably practice over at UAH for some of the depth perception issues because the same situation, same setup at the Spraggins Hall. I'm sure Coach John Schulman would allow them to use those facilities, and I'm sure that Coach Berryman and his staff are going to cover every area and every aspect of the preparation that you're going to need to beat a program of the caliber of Denton Johnson's Ramsey Rams, ranked number 1 in 5A. But big thanks to Desmond Phillips. Big thanks to Tom Berryman. Freddie, appreciate you sitting in. And we're going to have the recruiting blitz on Blitz Sports Radio coming up. We're going to talk to another prominent high school coach. Stay with us. Switch over to the Blitz Sports Radio. Dylan Burleson, Haleyville Lions. They will be taking on a quality opponent in the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats. That will be a very good game coming up at Wallace State. And we're going to talk with him about that. In Haleyville's season, they have played a very challenging schedule as the Lions are coming in after a big-time sub-regional win and playing very good basketball with the James brothers leading the way.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental